All right, peace and blessings, family. This is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. For those who are viewing via Facebook Live, please do me a favor and hit the share button and hit watch party. What that does is bring more viewers into this much needed and anticipated interview. So hit the share button and hit watch party so that can bring more viewers into the interview. As always, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, that the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Neter, oracle, scriptures, and writings that came on the continent of Africa thousands of years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. We greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my Black conscious family, hotep. And to my people in the streets, what's good to you? It all means peace. So once again, this is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. If anyone wants to call in and have any questions or any encouraging words for our good brother here, the call-in number is 717-846-5067. 717-846-5067 if you want to call in and give any encouraging words or statements for this interview called It's Been a Long Time Coming, but a Change is Going to Come. I've been wanting to bring this good brother on for a while. I believe he has a story that needs to be told, very encouraging and inspiring. If there's any community announcements, please call in or send it through the feed. Last week we had a program at the Championship Community Center. It was an anti-violence and anti-gun basketball game there at Championship Community Center, led by our good brother Dominic Chapman, Fred Walker, Brian Kennedy, and Miss Cynthia Dotson, and many others were instrumental in making that happen. I was there. My boys was there. It was very inspiring about stopping the violence. They had a dedication to mothers who have lost their sons to violence here in the city and abroad. So it was very inspiring. And then they're doing a part 2 this Saturday in Harrisburg. I'm not sure of the exact location, so if someone would please either call in or send a message through the feed to let us know the exact time and location for the second game, which would be in Harrisburg this Saturday, the 20th. So if it's any other programs, please let us know. I know we have the Juneteenth program. That's June 22nd at Union Lutheran Church there on the corner of Market and Penn Street. Carla Christopher is spearheading that. The movement, myself, and many others will have guest speakers there with a Juneteenth celebration, and we'll have that in honor of Anthony Orr Jr. And many other people in the community that we want to honor and recognize. But that program will definitely be in honor of Anthony Orr Jr., who lost his life last summer around the same time, and hopefully his parents will be there and other people in the community. So that's June 22nd. And then the week after that, we'll have the what's the basketball game? The Trey and Boo Classic. Yeah, Trey and Boo Classic, led by our brother Wayne Scott. So it's a lot of positive things coming up in the community. June 29th and 30th, the Trey and Boo Classic. That'll be at Penn Park, 2-day event. And that's been going on for about 8-9 years now. So without no further ado, our good brother, Erik Mann, can you introduce yourself, brother?
My name is Erik Mann. I'm 51 years old. Born and raised in York, educated in the New York City School District. After graduation, I went into the Navy for 3 years. Came back and been in New York since.
Mm-hmm. And you was telling me about how you were instrumental with coaching football.
Yes.
Can you give us a little explanation about that?
Well, I coached for South York all the age levels from age 8 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
I coached there for 25 years. After that, at South York, I went with the York Bears for 3 years.
Okay. So you said with South York?
South York for 25 years. Yeah.
So you were around the era with Coach Ross?
Yeah, I was there with Coach Ross for a long time.
Okay. All
Great
right.
man.
Mm-hmm. Let me put our brother Richard Muldrow. We were just discussing him. He's asking for the call-in number. I'm typing it in now, but the call-in number is 717-846-5067. I just put it in the feed, brother. So if anyone else wants to call in, it's 717-846-5067. What do you think the difference is now when you were coaching and kind of, I don't know if you keep up with what's going on with the teams now, but what was your experience and what did you really get out of doing that, back then?
Well, you know what? I love working with kids and I love football. So it kind of went hand in hand with me. Actually, my inspiration to coach was Coach Ruby. I had at York High. He was definitely an inspiration, and I know how much he helped us, with a lot of things.
All right. Someone's calling in.
Oh, okay.
Hold on to that thought
Go ahead.
already, man. You got it going on here. Hour of Power.
Hey, this is Richard Muldrow calling.
What's up, Rich?
Hey, how you doing, bud?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing, Brother Sharif?
Hey, hanging in there, bro.
All right. Hey, Coach, man, I want to call and return the love, man. And congratulations on beating that obstacle, Coach.
Oh, no doubt. I appreciate it, Rich.
Yeah, I saw you call me earlier. I was actually playing basketball, getting ready for the train booth. Come out of retirement.
Oh no, don't do that to yourself. I saw you at the football classic, and you were hurting for oxygen. You sure you want to do that?
Hey, I'll get back in shape.
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah. But yeah, Coach, man, it's good to see you back on the up and up, man.
All right, I appreciate you, Rich.
Yeah, love you, man.
I love you too.
All right, Brother Sharif.
All right, man. Keep in tune with the show, and later down the line, we definitely want to bring you back on for a part 2, man.
No doubt. I'll be ready.
Okay, thank you, bro.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
All right, Rich.
All righty.
Yes, that's our good brother Richard Muldrow. He was on a couple weeks ago talking about the importance of Black history, and man, he was really dropping it. So glad that he's staying in tune. But you were telling us about your experience with South York back in the day.
Yeah, like I said, it kind of went hand in hand with me with football and the kids. So I definitely loved it. It was a huge part of my life, and it met a lot of good people, got a chance to coach a lot of good kids. And the reality is I miss it very much. Because it was, like I said, it was a big part of my life for 28 years. I left out, I coached York High freshman for a year too.
Wow, okay.
And we had an undefeated team that year, a lot of good kids. Like I said, I met a lot of good people, a lot of good friends, a lot of good friendships, a lot of good coaches that I'm still in touch with to this day. So it was definitely a great experience.
Right. And I guess back in those times, did you see that the families were more tight-knit? Did you have like a relationship with the youth and the students outside of football? And do you see that still being a need today? Or like, how was that connection?
I'd tell you to be 100, and I've always said this, the moms were the backbone of youth football. The moms were there at practice a lot more than the dads. And I always said that the dads need to be more involved when it came to like sports, because the moms were there from the time we started to the time we left. All the games, they volunteered for like the food stand, and they did a lot. But you know, the dads were there. I can't say all the dads were there because it was definitely a lot that were there. But I think
you're not paintbrushing it.
No,
you're just saying more.
The moms dominated. They were, you know, very helpful. It was definitely, yeah, it was definitely a good thing. And the families supported a lot, but it was mostly like at the games. You know, a lot didn't come to practice. They came to the games, but not a lot came to practice. And I always thought that should be a better situation by more people coming to the practices to see their kids.
Did the parents mind? Because I'm sure the discipline was probably a little different than it is now. Did the parents mind you getting on the boys, or were they kind of like, don't talk to my son that way? Or how was that dynamic back then?
Well, see, back then, a lot of the people that I coached their kids, I graduated with. So they knew me.
It was like a family
Right.
connection.
But I always told the parents, you know, we only got your kid for 2 or 3 hours a day. We can't discipline them on what they do at home, but we can discipline them on the field. Even like punish them. Like we used to always tell them, if they did something wrong in school, to let us know. We would punish them at practice. And me personally, I would sit them out until they got their stuff together. But people, you know, did things different ways. But I always had a great relationship with the parents. That was definitely a good thing with the parents. But somebody made a good point to me a couple of weeks ago, and I really never thought about it. They said football is different now because a lot of the kids, a lot of the parents are like, you know, 22, 23 years old. You know, their kids start at 5 now. So back then when I was coaching, a lot of parents were in their 30s. So they knew a little bit more about life. You know, so a lot of times these days with these kids starting at age 5, 'cause we started at 8. You know what I'm saying? They it's just different because like the parents are younger and they really don't know a lot about football, some of them. And it's just the day and age. You know, it's back then we didn't have social media. So everything that we talked about, it pretty much was face to face.
Face to face.
Yeah, it wasn't, we didn't go on social media to complain about a situation. We just went exactly to the parent, or the parent came to talk to us. You know, it wasn't no back and forth on social media or Facebook, Twitter. You know, Facebook can be a great thing, but it can be a bad thing too if it's used wrong. But that's different to me, is that you just kind of you know, it was back and forth, face to
exchange.
face.
The exchange. And that's why you hear people say it ain't like it used to be, you know, back in the day. I never really thought of that. You know, back then we didn't have the social media to get the word out there. But when it was, you know, conflict or issues, like you said, it was, you know, man to man, woman to woman, whatever, face to face. You didn't have that. You know, now if someone don't like the coach, you know, they can go on Facebook and just air out dirty laundry. Not that the coach is doing anything wrong, but that's a good point that, you know, it was just more personal. You know,
it was a lot more personal back then, definitely. And, you know, a lot of the kids I still have great relationships with to this day. Because, like I said, it was more one-on-one interaction with them. You know, it was like right now it's so many different sports. Back then it was just basically football, basketball, baseball. And football is all year round now. You know, back then it was from August to November. But like the Bears had a spring team. They traveled like all over the East Coast and played. You know, so that was a good thing. But like I said, it was just people were more age appropriate from that we grew up with. Actually, from, you know, when we were young to graduating high school. So I think that's the biggest difference. Just the age thing.
And when you were coming up, who kind of inspired you to get into coaching? Was there any particular individual that you could really say, man, that individual really inspired me to do
Coach
what
Ruby.
I was doing?
Coach Ruby. Yeah, for York High. I think what got me with him, my senior year, the school district actually went on strike.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so he was a teacher, a gym teacher.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, the other teachers that we had on the coaching staff, actually, they kind of like boycotted and didn't practice and go to games with us. And he looked us dead in our face and said, "Look, you guys put all this time and effort into the season. No way I'm going to bail out on you." So that got my respect. You know what I'm saying? Because he really got blasted for being a teacher and not like going on strike with them because he was coaching us. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of got my respect big time, and I saw what it took to be a coach and how it affected all of our lives, because we gave him so much love after that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was basically down to 3 coaches from 6 or 7.
So the strike didn't affect the football team at that time?
No, because like I said, but like the other teachers that were coaches, they didn't coach us.
Oh,
They
okay,
kinda-
I see what you're saying.
I'm not gonna say they abandoned us, but they kind of went with the teachers because they were striking. You kind of couldn't do both.
Do both, yeah, I was getting ready to say
Yeah,
that.
so Coach Ruby actually
He hung in there.
he hung in
with
there.
you.
Yeah, and he definitely, like he said, I looked you guys dead in the face. There's no way that I could, not coach you, because he was the head coach. The other guys were the assistants. So that was definitely a respect. We actually played CD East that game. We won 28-6 that game. But it was an amazing experience because of what he did.
Now, did you play like South York and
I
Boys
played
Club
for
or East
I played
End?
for East End.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
age 8 to 13.
was there any coaches back then that were instrumental in your development that you want to
There
mention?
was Coach Chet Patterson, Mr. Campbell. It was a lot. It was a lot of people.
Wow.
But Coach Ruby was definitely my top
Right.
inspiration.
Okay.
Back then you really didn't. They were like, to be honest, and 100%, they were mostly white coaches. So we went from the East End Projects, where it was a mixed group, but mostly like minorities, to a bunch of white coaches. Russell Dorn was the coach up at East End, but it was mostly like the white coaches. So we kind of went from one extreme to the other.
Right.
They were all good guys. I'm not gonna say anything negative about that, but
That's just what it was
That's why,
at that
yeah,
time.
because East End was basically white coaches. South York was mostly like minority coaches.
Right.
Boys Club had a mixture of both. So that's how you kind of, when we played, where you lived at is who you played for. It's not like that anymore. Kind of a mixed crew wherever you play.
So
at
you
now.
could live out East End, but maybe play for Boys Club or
You
something
can,
like
but the Bears,
not
the Bears
typical.
too. Yeah. Well, it is, but they just made boundaries. I think I'm right about this. They made boundaries for your county league. Where you live at is where you have to play at. But the
Right.
Bears, you could live anywhere and play for the Bears. So that's a good thing about the Bears.
So as far as like black coaches actually coaching for York High, when did you start seeing that shift? Because you probably have a better history and timeline than I do.
If I remember right, Coach J.D. Martin was the first minority head coach that I seen at York High.
Wow, I remember him.
Yeah, and I think as the years went on,
Then
it got
started
better.
changing.
Yeah.
Was it the same in? Well, I always remember Coach Keenan Preston.
He was basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
Yeah. It was more minority basketball coaches than there is football.
Than football.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? We have knowledge and.
I don't know. That's one thing I was always curious about. I don't know. Maybe because the basketball is more, I'm going to say it's more of a minority sport, but I think there's more minorities playing basketball than there is football, especially in the city.
But you said Coach J.D. Martin was the
Yes.
first.
The one that I remember. Him and Pierre McMillan, called him
Okay.
Gooch.
Okay.
Yeah, he lived with Monty McMillan's dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kinda
They're the two I
familiar.
remember the most. Definitely.
Wow. So you're breaking down the history there, and once you finished with York High, you said you went into the service.
Yeah, I went there. I was in the Navy for 3 years. 3 years active, 3 years reserves.
Okay. And a lot of people now, know you for a kind of a struggle. We all go through different things, and that's how I kind of got reconnected, with you is Facebook. Like you said, Facebook has its positives and negatives,
Right.
but the positive that I get out of it is reconnecting people or connecting
Yeah.
people. And
I agree.
and I saw you on, and when I saw what you were going through, it was kind of heartbreaking but inspiring at the same time,
Yeah.
because I seen the struggle that you were going through. You want to tell us, take us through that, and not to make anyone sad, but as a inspiration, because it inspired me, because I go through things. I'm going through things now.
Right.
But when I saw how you overcame that, can you take us through what you went through with your struggle, how you
Okay.
found out about it, and just take us through that process? And again, we ain't trying to make anyone
No
sad.
doubt,
This
no
is
doubt.
this is
It's real
inspiration.
life. It's
Yeah.
real life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, about a year and a half ago, 2 years, my voice started getting real hoarse.
Okay.
I could barely talk.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to my family doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and
You just thought it was like a cold, a bad cold, or
yeah,
flu or
or
something?
because the
Mhm.
fact that I coach football,
Right,
it
right.
was because I'm yelling. a
All
lot.
yelling. Mm-hmm.
So when I went there, they told me that I had postnasal drip.
Okay.
Okay, that was the first thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then it turned into allergies.
Mm-hmm.
Then they told me it probably was from coaching football.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through every Flonase, everything, Claritin, all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
for probably, like I said, like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I went through all that.
Mm-hmm. Physically, were you feeling okay?
Yeah, I was fine. I never had any issues. It was just my voice.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually driving in my FedEx truck, and something just hit me. It's more. Something just hit me. It's more than what they're
You
saying.
mean mentally?
Yeah, it just all of a sudden it just kind of like just hit me. 'Cause when I drive a lot of FedEx, I'm by myself, so I get a chance to like think a lot, and it kind of just hit me and said, something's not right. It's more than what they're saying, because nothing was getting better. I was getting worse, to be honest. So I actually went I called my friend Renee Moss. She works at the York ENT, ear, nose, and throat over on Richmond Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I actually-
Okay.
I actually called her, and I talked to her about making an appointment. So I actually made the appointment myself to the York ENT. She got me an appointment. So when I went in there, the first appointment, they went in there, and they what they do, they scope you. They basically put stuff down your nostrils to kind of clear it out, and they get like a long, thin, it's kind of like a microscope. So what they did, they went down there, and they saw that I had a nodule on my vocal cords. A nodule is basically like a cyst.
Right.
Okay, so what he did, I had to get surgery to get the nodule taken off. Okay, so I thought that was going to be it. So when he went in there, he took pictures during the surgery, and he actually saw like pre-cancer cells on my vocal cords. Okay, so when he told me that kind of blew me away, But I still had that hope that it was pre-cancer cells, So I actually got scraped twice. What scraped is they go in, they have surgery, and they actually like scrape the layers off of kind of like skin on your vocal cords. They scrape it off,
Did
hoping
you
that
have to take off of work for these?
just for a
procedures?
day.
Oh,
Just for
okay.
that day. And they did that twice. So after the second time, he took pictures again, and he said he told me that I had cancer. It turned in from the pre-cancer cells to cancer. What happened is the cancer was underneath of all the pre-cancer cells, like the layers of skin. So they couldn't see it until they scraped it off. So after that, I actually, he told me I had cancer. But, the thing that actually like blew me away about that whole situation is where it was at. It was actually on my vocal cords. Because most of the people that have it on their vocal cords smoke cigarettes. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. Never
Wow.
did drugs. I don't drink. So where it was at was kind of it was a surprise, to put it.
And if you wouldn't have took the initiative, like you said, it just kind of hit you while you were working. You were going to your regular, I guess,
Clinics.
PCP, your doctor, and
Yeah.
they never noticed. They just kept giving you nasal and
Yeah.
allergy
Or say, because I coach
And
football.
how long was that going on?
That was for almost a year and a half.
You were just taking this stuff,
I just kept doing that.
and no difference.
No improvement
Uh-huh.
at all.
Wow. So if you wouldn't have took that initiative, there's no telling.
I still have it.
Right, or it would have just got worse.
Yeah, probably. Well, you know what? I was to the point where I couldn't even talk. I was like barely being able to talk. I couldn't even. It was an adjustment. I couldn't talk at all, to be honest.
And they never, going to your regular doctor, they never said, with your voice getting worse, like, okay, we need to refer this to where you actually went yourself. They never.
They never did that. They never did that. I think that's what kind of had me upset. Like I put a video on Facebook how it actually came about. You know, not to put down anybody in the medical field, but sometimes it's just like you're there, just get this over with, move on. You know, not every doctor's like that, so I'm not going to say that.
Right,
But
right.
at that time, that's what I kind of was feeling. I kind of just had to take initiative myself to do what I had to do. You know, to come down to it's my life.
Well, kudos to you for, investing in yourself. It's no secret a lot of time, and sometimes I'm guilty of this. Black men, we just don't take, we just don't invest in our health or take care of our health as we should. Some of us won't go to the doctor at all.
Well, you know what, brother? I was talking to somebody about that exact point. When we were
Speak on that.
when we were growing up, especially if you play sports, you were taught suck it up, toughen up, wrap it up, go back in the game. And like you said, when it comes to the minorities, that was kind of the mindset that they had. You know, I said it to
Even
my
if you were hurting?
yeah, even if you were hurt, I said it to my players. I said it to my kids, guys, you got toughen up. You're all right, go back in. But see, that's the way that we were raised, especially the people that play sports. You know, you got an ace bandage. We got our ace bandages, wrapped it up, and went back in. But as far as it came to like the health, nobody really actually said anything.
All right, hold on to that thought
gotcha.
for someone's calling in. Yeah. Hour of Power.
Hi, this is Kiona Duncan. I saw you guys on the air, and I just wanted to make a comment. Hi, Eric. How are you?
How you doing, hon?
Hey, how you doing, Queen?
Good. So I just wanted to say, as far as Eric, I didn't grow up out East End, but I grew up out East End from family and just knew him from a little girl. And I just wanted to say that, like watching him over the years, he was one of the people that I felt was like a very good influence on a lot of the kids and a lot of the boys growing up, whether it was just, sports-wise or just being a person that they could go to and talk to. And being young, back then I just would watch people. And at the time, we didn't really have a relationship as far as me feeling comfortable to talk to him because I really didn't know him. But over the years, through family and stuff, I got to talk to him and got to know him. And I just like to say that, what you see is what you get with him. Like, I feel like, like this journey that he's going through now is a testimony of how strong he is. And that, through what he's going through now is only going to help other people. And I want to say congratulations to him for his courage. And we've had private talks and inboxes, just, about the struggle that he's going through. But I just want him to know that there's people that he doesn't even know that, like he said before, thank you for praying for me. Because there's a lot of people that he's influenced that he may not even know that he's influenced on the side. My children didn't live out East End. They never worked with him, but being able to see what he did for other kids in the community was touching. And I just want to take the time to say that and address that and say that publicly.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You.
Yeah, thank you, Kiona, for calling in, and we appreciate what you do in the community. It's not unnoticed, and like you said, it's almost a mirror of what you're saying about him. He's influenced a lot of people, and I believe his story can influence and inspire a lot of people. But things that you do influence and inspire people, known and unknown. So we appreciate you as a queen in the community.
I appreciate you.
Okay, I think she hung up.
Okay.
All righty. That's our sister Kiona. So yeah, some people are calling in, giving you some inspiration. Don't be shy to call in, people. 717-846-5067. Your good brother Rodney Washington. He said a longtime friend. Our good brother Cuddy Bryant. Yeah, he said my homie, and Mr. Castro. He sent some encouraging words. So thank you for that. So we were talking about black men and their health, and you were saying about the notion about suck it up. Back during those times, and even through high school, with your experience of playing football and coaching football, did you know of players getting what do you want to call it, concussions? You hear about that a lot. Did you experience that a lot? You saying about sucking it up. Did you?
No, you know what?
That?
We didn't have a lot of concussions.
Okay,
and
that you know of.
That I know of. Yeah.
Right.
I think I knew one person during my high school years that actually had a concussion. A couple had maybe a broken bone here, broken bone there, but I think the big difference between now and when these kids now, like I was 145 pounds when I played for York High. That's not even like a safety now. These kids are 200, 250, 300 pounds. Right. And I think the force that they hit people is a lot harder than what when we did. Because I think the heaviest person we on our team was Jay Hutt, and he was probably 190. Now there's kids on York High that are 260, 270, 280. Wow. They're big kids, and I think that's one of the huge differences as far as it comes to the concussions, definitely.
Now you have a son that plays college football.
Yeah, he's
right?
up at Lock Haven. Yeah, doing very well.
Right. Are you concerned about the force and the physicality of football? Like you said, because it's so different.
You know what? Parrish Terry, he talked. Me and him had a conversation about that at his barbershop, and that was kind of a hard question for me because my son loves football. And I know that I taught him the right way to play football. And so that's kind of encouraging to me that I taught him how to play that. But I kind of had the mindset that when it's your time, not to put that lightly. I could be walking down the street right now and a guy could take me. Right. He's doing something that he absolutely loves. That boy loves football. And all these kids love football. So why kind of, I'm going to say,
play in fear.
Yeah, why and dwell on something that might not even happen.
Right.
And every year that I was with him, I told him, if you're going to play football, you're not going to quit. But I asked him that every year. I think a lot of people think that I kind of forced him to play because I coach. But every single year I always asked him, do you want to play?
Is this what you want to do?
And the rule was that if you play, you're not going to quit. So that was, like I said, he's doing something he loves. So I'm not going to say, okay, Eric, he's 20. You got to stop playing football because I'm worried about a concussion. When you play in fear, that's when you get a lot of concussions. In danger. Right. And if you got taught the wrong way, that has a lot to do with it too. That's why I think coaching is very important at the youth level. You have to teach these kids how to tackle. You can't go head first. Matter of fact, it's funny because he had a scrimmage on Saturday and he tried to tackle somebody a little high. And after the game, it was like, I said, I didn't teach you how to tackle people like that. That's how you get hurt. Tackle them low, grab their legs, and wrap. It's very important that technique. If you go helmet first, that's going to give you a greater chance of getting a concussion. So that's kind of where I stand with that situation.
But back to the point of us not taking care, of our health and sucking up. Did you want to further that point? I know we got
that's for me. That's a big point right now because I think
beyond sports,
that's life because. I had a mentality. I'm gonna tough this out. I'm not going to. I could have something sprained or hurt. Like I said, I was taught to learn how to suck it up, but why be miserable?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? If something hurting on your body, go get it checked. And if it's not, if you're not completely satisfied with what you get from your initial doctor, go get a second opinion. You know, don't be, you know, saying, "Oh, it's going to go away." No, it's not going to go away. You know what I'm saying? You got to. Why be miserable? You know, I was miserable with my throat.
Right.
So
for a whole year.
A year and a half. A year and a half, I was miserable. You know, when I went to my son's games, I couldn't even like yell, encourage him, and you know, talk to people. And that was a big deal to me. You know, to be able to encourage people to. But you have to learn that it's okay to go to the doctors. You know, people think it's, oh, I'm not going to go. I'm a tough this. No, you can't. You can't have that mentality. Because you got, you know, there's a lot of people that actually like text me, call me, inbox me, like on a regular and say, you know, thank you for your message because, you know, I was dealing with something, but I didn't want to go get it checked. You know, some of them say, well, even with life, they're dealing with stuff outside of medical stuff. You know, and they was like, you know, I'm dealing with that now because I saw what you did in your journey. You know, so they're dealing with it now. There's a couple people made the appointments at the York ENT. I actually had a friend, a lifelong friend, talk to me Saturday out east that he's dealing with cancer right now. He said that I'm like only the third or fourth person that he told, but he said that it's, you know, that he saw what I was going through and it inspired him to keep going. Right. I actually had a friend today that told me that she beat cancer today. And she was going through it for years. So I've been getting these stories since I started going on Facebook, and it was weird because when I initially found out, I was going to kind of stay off Facebook, shut it down. I wasn't going to do anything. But then, you know, about 10 people said, you know, I want you to call, let me, you know, tell me how you're doing. But I said, no, it's going to be easier if I just do it through Facebook. But it got to a point where it kind of got a life of its own. It got huge. I didn't think I didn't think it was going to be that huge. To be honest with you,
that's the beauty of Facebook. 'Cause
yes.
Like I said, that's what
what
inspired me.
It definitely helped.
Yeah, there's no telling. Like Sister Kiona said, there's no telling how many people you have inspired by those messages, known and unknown. Because everyone that sees those things, they don't always respond. But I don't mean it hasn't touched them. Some people just, you know, see it and they may go. You may have saved people's lives and you don't even know it. Just because they didn't say, hey, I did this, this, and that, thank you, that don't mean you haven't inspired or touched someone. You know, and that's the beauty of, that's the beautiful part of Facebook and life. You know, we don't do things to get, you know, hopefully to get likes. It's if we have touched someone and made a difference in someone's life, whether we know it or don't know it, that's the beauty of it. And that's just spirituality, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
You know, just touching people and making a difference in people's lives, whether we know it or get the direct credit or not. That's really not about that.
Exactly.
You know, it's about just touching people and making a difference. So I know you have done that, and that's why I couldn't wait to bring you on the show. And hopefully right now, as we're speaking, we're touching someone and making a difference. And if you're out there, whether it's Facebook or on Channel 16, if you got some issues, whether it's mental health or physical, you know, do like this man did and, you know, go and, you know, get yourself checked so, you know, you can get the help, you know, that you need so we can live long, healthy, prosperous lives.
It was definitely, this whole situation was definitely a huge wake-up call for me. Like I said, I didn't smoke, drink, do drugs or anything, but when I first found out about it, a couple things go through your head. First of all, it's like, why me? That was huge for me. And second of all, it's like, am I going to die? You know what I'm saying? So
that's real.
Man. And the third one was like, how'd I get it? You know, like I said, because it was on my vocal cords.
Did they ever give you?
There's really no way you can tell how you got it. But
no smoking, no drinking.
Never. I never smoked a cigarette. Never did a drug. The blessing. Well, I'm not gonna say the blessing, but me having cancer. Like my sister passed away from cancer in her 40s. My mom had cancer, and it's hereditary on my dad's side too. So if I was going to get cancer being on my vocal cords probably was the best place to have it because it was like a 96% success rate
Oh,
when you
okay.
go through the radiation.
Mm-hmm.
It was rough because I lost like 28 pounds. I couldn't eat. I had a hard time drinking water. I ate yogurt, mashed potatoes, applesauce, and then the drinks, protein drinks.
Right, and sure, yeah.
And that was like a struggle because I had to wear a mask like the whole time. They fit you for a mask, and if I would have got past a certain point of losing weight, the mask wouldn't have fit anymore. So it was a struggle, like from week 3, 4, 5, and 6, for me to try to not lose 30, 35 pounds, or I wouldn't have been able to get my treatment. So that was a huge, that was a stressful
And when
thing.
you were going through the recovery process, were you off work?
No, you know what? I went to work. The first 2 weeks of treatments, I was actually on vacation. So
Wow.
I always take 2 weeks in the winter because I don't like the cold. So it actually started that week. What a lot of people don't realize is that when you first get diagnosed, it takes almost 5 weeks for you to get started with your treatments.
Do you mean before they do anything?
Before you get, because when you get radiation and the chemo, they have to I had to get fitted for a mask. It's like a plastic. You got to go get a CAT scan. You got to get a PET scan. It's a lot of mathematics measurements involved with.
Yeah, you just don't go
actual
in and then they
radiation.
just start the next day.
No, it takes like 5 weeks. So for them 5 weeks, you're like going through all kind of emotions. You know what I'm saying? So I read up a lot. Thought I was prepared for everything. You know, the first 2 weeks, it was real easy. And I was like, oh man, this is a piece of cake. Then that third week started that Monday, and that's when it got crazy. You know, that's when the swelling and the rawness and the dry mouth. I was barely sleeping 2 or 3 hours a day, but it was a huge blessing that I could work. You know, because I drive for a living. You know, I'm out there 8 hours a day, working off for 2 or 3 hours of sleep. But without my job, I don't know if I'd have made it because
Kept you busy.
for 8 hours a day. It kept my mind because the weekends were rough.
Right.
Because I didn't do anything on the weekends. You know, and all you're doing is sitting there thinking, you know,
all kind of thoughts. is
you
going through
can't do anything. You're miserable. You know, and so it kind of saved me. To be honest, it definitely helped, and that was a goal of mine to be able to work through all that.
Wow, that's something to be going through. You know, that kind of mental anguish, so to speak, and then you were still working, but like you said, working was actually
It was my
mind
savior.
therapy.
It saved
for
me.
you.
Yeah, it definitely
Yes.
did.
Wow.
Definitely.
Well, this is a very inspiring story. That's why I wanted to bring this brother on. And again, for those out there watching Facebook, on the TV channel, I hope this is inspiring and encouraging someone to just take care of your overall health. Not
Definitely
just
have
black
to.
people, anyone.
Everybody.
But we just, seem to, suffer from these things more. And unapologetically, my show is designed to, like I say, lift the mind, the body, and the soul, of our people. That just isn't some fancy saying. That's what this show is designed to do: lift the mind, body, and soul. That's what keeps us going.
Yes.
Simultaneously. If your mind ain't right, if your body ain't right, and if your soul ain't right, you ain't gonna be right. And it don't just affect you; it affects your family. How did it affect your family with you going through that struggle?
They were really strong. They were really strong, very
That's great.
supportive, very patient, very patient because I was definitely different. It tested every boundary that I had.
Right.
Like I said, you think about death, you think about everything. So even though you try to stay strong, you definitely have those weak moments. Everything that I've ever read and I saw, like the stuff at the cancer center, was stay positive. Because if you go in with them treatments, anybody that go in with them treatments with a negative attitude, you're not going to make it. Even though I was really, really positive, I still had days where
Of course.
I just wanted to rip somebody's head off. To be honest, because it was the worst thing that I ever had to go through in my life, physically, mentally, and the spiritual part. For me, like I told you earlier, I was asking God, why me? Why did I have to do that? But it was a huge wake-up call for me because there's some things that I get a second chance on with life. I'm going to start volunteering more. I was the kind of person that was like a stress eater. I'm the Middlesworth 99-cent bag every day. I was the one that ate the Frosted Flakes at 10 o'clock at night. I ate for stress and comfort. And if I would have to guess why that might have happened to me, I think that might have been a big issue because like I read up on a lot of stuff. My sister Tia in Buffalo, New York, she actually gave me her and Will gave me advice on the alkaline diet. So
did you see? It's not to interrupt. Did you see my interview with Erik Mann?
Yeah, I looked at the whole thing. I'm going to go. Matter of fact, I'm going to go up there this weekend. I'm going to start getting.
Yeah, he has a lot of helpful information.
Right, and I've been eating so much better. Like I haven't had any chip, and I love Middlesworth chips. I haven't had any of that stuff to eat.
Wow,
I've been eating a lot of fruit and vegetables.
That's great.
You know, and I'm gonna do what I have to do as far as that with that involved. Because the reality of it is you got to do what you have to do. But like I said, with me with the treatments, I kind of had the mindset that I'm gonna do what I have to do to survive, and then it's in God's hands.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be upset at God for putting me through this. Because like I said, I got a wake up call with some things that I had to improve. But with that mentality, sometimes you don't. I got it. I can do it 5 or 6 weeks from now. But tomorrow's not promised, and I know that more than ever. That tomorrow's not promised.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a journey, and I tell people this all the time. If you got something to do, don't wait. Because you could be walking down the street right now. If God wants you, He's going to take you. So don't procrastinate and say, "Oh, I'm gonna wait for this." No, you can't do that. Right. And my prayer warriors and my support system, they were incredible.
Right.
I was lacking.
Praying for you.
Yeah, and I know, and a lot of people were. I was lacking a lot of faith because I was mad at God. And I'll be 100, but I was mad at God for taking my sister. So I had a lot of doubts. My faith was really, really struggling. I stopped going to church and stuff like that. So I think God was getting my attention back to what I had to be doing, what I should be doing. Now my faith is stronger than ever because what I went through, it was rough. But every time I would post something, there would be 200-300 people saying, "I'm praying for you." You know what I'm saying? And my brother, Adrian Boxley, Scooby, that's my boy. He told me that God told him like 2 or 3 weeks before I actually found out that I was healed. And I got on him because I was saying, "Well, why don't you call and tell me?" Why did I have to wait to hear it? But everybody was they were praying for me, and that was very inspiring.
We had Pastor Boxley on at the end of last year.
We're very, very close. We've been close our whole lives. The prayer warriors and the support system definitely. Without them, I wouldn't have made it. I'll be honest with you, because it was times I just wanted to give up. But like I always tell my players every year I coach them in football, I don't care if you guys are down 100 or nothing, never quit.
Never quit.
So I wasn't going to be the kind of person who told them one thing, and then when times got rough for me, that I was going to quit. So that's what life is about. You just gotta keep fighting. Because if you give up on yourself, that's when things are going to go downhill fast.
Right.
Health, mentally, spiritually. You gotta stay on your A game. Right. If you don't, you're going to pay for it.
Right.
I'm not gonna say you're gonna get cancer, but the mental aspect of it, you're gonna start the drinking and the drugs, and if you're not strong in them areas, other people and other influences will definitely come. And once they take your mind and your soul, it's hard coming back from that. I see people struggle all the time.
Right. Well, we have about a little less than 10 minutes. If anyone wants to call in and give any inspiring, words or comments, the call-in number is 717-846-5067. This is a very inspiring and much-needed talk and discussion, and it's just real about our health, triumph, victory, struggle, obstacles. We all have them in one way or another. It may not be what this brother went through, even though health is a very serious thing, in our community. It's always going to be something, and that's why I wanted to, bring him on to inspire people, known and unknown. So we are so happy that you overcame this obstacle. You're still with us, and it's just an inspiration, to a lot of people. But in and out on a positive note, you're a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, right?
Yeah, yes,
I see you got kind of
Yes,
getting
I am.
into it with Rodney Washington and my
Ed.
friend Ed. He's a good friend of mine.
That's
Y'all
my
be
boy.
going back and forth. Like, what do you think the outlook is with the Cowboys coming up this year?
I think we're gonna be all right. I think we're gonna be all right. We made some necessary changes. Got rid of some poison a couple years, year or two ago. I think we're gonna be all right. We're definitely gonna be all right. I know Ed don't want to hear that, and a lot of other people. I know they're going to get on me about that, but I've been a Cowboy fan since I was 8 years old.
Wow.
I'm always gonna be a Cowboy fan. There ain't no doubt about that. But
Yeah.
it's a good thing that we do back and forth on Facebook. We have a
it's
good time,
fun.
but unfortunately, you got some people that take it personal and serious that
no.
kind of get out of hand with it. I don't want to talk to you because me and Ed, we always and Rodney, we have fun with it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's,
y'all, it's
we're good
it's
friends,
good
and that's
fun.
what it's about. It's good fun.
Balance out with all the stuff with
Sports is a
bills
game.
and family and your health and all that. You gotta have something to kind of balance out.
Sports is only a game.
So I kind of laugh. Y'all
Yeah, it's
kind
funny.
of make. I'm not a real big sports fan. I like sports. I don't say much on Facebook, but it kind of gives me a chuckle when I see y'all going back and forth.
we
And
have a
your
good
good
time with it.
friend Rodney, he's the Steelers fan.
Yeah,
right?
he's a Steeler and likes the Eagles.
What do you think about what they're going?
You know what,
do you
I-
think they're going to be competitive with losing one of the best receivers and one of the best running backs? Do you think they're
You know
going
what?
to be competitive?
Me being a coach,
Mhm.
and I'm a true believer with this. They got rid of poison when Bell and Brown left. They got rid of poison in the locker room.
So as talented as you are, you think it's going to balance out?
I think they're actually going to be better because they're going to
Wow.
play more as a team. Brown was about himself. He got mad when Ben didn't want to throw him the ball. Bell wanted more money. That, to me, that's poison. Even though they're great players, but if you got a poisonous locker room,
Yeah.
that's going to affect
drag
everything
everything.
around it. Like one of their players I read on Twitter, he said, if anybody wants to talk about the Steelers, talk to me about it. Don't be
I did
doing it
see
on
that.
social media. And you got something to say, it said to me, but I'm a firm believer that team sport is a team sport. If you got one or two bad apples in there, it's going to mess.
Drag the
It's
whole
going to mess
thing
your whole
down.
team up. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that.
You think he's going to make the Raiders better or worse?
Well, you know what? The Raiders are so bad, so bad that they might. Only thing they can do is go up. But personally, if I'm a coach and a teammate, I won't want him on my team because all he does is bring. It's all about him.
Yeah.
Football, there's no I in team. You know what I'm saying? That's what I always preach to my kids. You
Right.
gotta play as a team. You can't because the reality of it is, like what I used to do the first day of practice, I would get one kid, and I would have him run against the whole team. Okay, to show them that you're not going to do anything without your teammates. Without what Brown did, he kind of like alienated himself with Juju. He wouldn't have been as good without Ben throwing him the ball. He wouldn't have been as good without his lineman blocking so Ben could throw him the ball. He wouldn't be that good. He kind of made it about himself. And that's because that man's a very talented player.
Yeah, he's very talented.
But now look at him now. All because he didn't want to be part of the team. That's poison. That's what happened with Cowboys and Des Bryant. Des was a great player, but he was poisoned to the locker room. That's what I'm a firm believer with that. That's just me.
Now I know the Eagles is like kind of your rival there.
Yeah.
Do you think they got Deshaun Jackson?
I hate to say this because I know I'm going to regret saying this, but they're going to have a good team.
Yeah.
They got
So,
a good team.
So in the NFC East, you think it's going to be a real battle between
I think
the
it's gonna be Dallas and
Cowboys
Philly.
and Philly?
Yeah.
Because the Giants,
They got rid of Beckham. That's going to hurt them.
Odell Beckham.
And their quarterback's still not that great.
Eli Manning. I mean, I'm surprised they're still hanging on with him.
I think the Redskins they made some good improvements too, so I think they're going to be all right. It's going to be a good year because Philly definitely got better. I know I'm going to regret saying that, but they definitely got better.
You may be a little biased. If you had to pick, who do you think could be in the Super Bowl for 2019?
You know, I gotta say my team.
Uh-huh.
But you know what? The Rams are going to be tough. They made some good choices. But you know, the thing about football, all it takes is a couple injuries that could change the whole season.
Change the whole thing.
I never kind of predict because, like the Eagles, if Carson Wentz gets hurt, they're in major trouble. If Dak Prescott
they don't have
hurt,
that.
They don't have that backup.
Yeah.
If that gets hurt, they're going to Dallas is going to be in major trouble. So I usually don't predict. I always mess with people and say Dallas is going to be in the Super Bowl, but I just do it to rile people up.
Right.
But I never predict.
So in the AFC, I know you said you don't predict. You think the Patriots can get back there?
You know what? As long as Brady and Belichick are there, you can't bet against them. And they actually got some better players this year at the wide receiver and tight end spot. So he makes average players and older players
him and
good
the
again.
coach, right?
Yeah.
What's it, Demaryius Thomas?
Yeah, he went there.
Right.
He definitely went there.
Right.
And they got a couple other people that. And Brady's the GOAT. He's the best. He's the best player.
Undeniably, you think he's the best quarterback.
You win 6 Super Bowls.
6 Super Bowls.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
I
go
used to
against
say
that.
Joe Montana.
Yeah, me too, because he used to kill Dallas so much. But
now, you think that's a difference? He has 6, but Montana had 4, but he never lost. Do you still think him winning 6 but lost? What did he lose, like 2 or 3?
he lost like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
But if you see them losses, they were like last-second losses.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he
they're-
could easily have 7 or 8 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and the reality of it is he still got 6.
Right.
Nobody-
That's the end of it.
And you know the reality of it is there's not. I think the Steelers have 6, Dallas have 5, the 49ers got 5, New England got 6. So just think about that man. You know, he has 6. He has 6 rings.
Right.
A lot of people don't even have 1.
Right. It's so hard to get there.
Right.
He's been there.
He's been there
7
or 8 times and won 6 of them.
Right. Wow. This has been great. It's been inspiring. We're going to share this, and anyone out there, please share it so we can get this message of inspiration and about our health and triumph and victory and obstacles. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. You're welcome to come on. Come back anytime. Keep tuning in and keep telling people about the Hour of Power. That's
Can I
what
say
we
one
do.
more thing? Do we have
Sure.
One thing that I wanted to express big time is that if you're going through something, don't do it alone. Get people that you actually trust, and rely on them and let them support you. Nothing wrong with letting people help you when you go through things. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
All right.